Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
We remain stateside in the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship as the series heads to Wisconsin and the National Park of Speed for round 3 of the championship. Welcome everyone to Road America. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. I have Chaz Jacobs alongside me in the country booth and Lewis Ward physically alongside me here in the Apex Racing UK Sim Centre. Chaz, this is such a good circuit. I think there's a tier of circuits where if people say that it's their favourite circuits, I won't dislike them on a personal level. A few circuits I think, wow, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. If someone said this was their favourite circuit to me, I would say yes, you are a smart person, because it's excellent. Road America it's just an exceptional track.
It really is, and it's strangely unique. You know, there's a lot of big challenges here, a lot of slipstreaming that you need to think about. You know, we were just saying before we went live there that racecraft is oh so important at a circuit like this. It's not all about out-and-out pace, and it's really important to stay within the draft of the drivers ahead of you. I think we're going to see a few guys fall out of that slipstream tonight, and it's really going to affect their race. So in the early stages, we need to keep an eye on who that catches out and who it doesn't.
For sure. We are just entering qualifying at the moment, but before we have a look at the times, we'll have a look at the championship standings so far, and it has been core sim racing domination so far. 3 points clear. Sven Newman ahead of Pascal Stix. Frank Schmidt's there in 3rd position. The last time out it was Kai Thiago Marteau who was able to take the race victory. He's down in 8th after a very poor result in round 1. So he is looking to recover at some points if possible. And well, they do get a drop score in this series, but having your drop score in round 1 is going to be very tricky for the Belgian to recover. In the LMDH AMS, we've got Jack Wells at the top. Very up and down championship so far. Wells with a 3rd and a 5th, I believe, to take him into the championship lead. Adam Cole's there in 2nd place. Fabio Grosseto in 3rd, but that is hugely open. Many drivers with a fantastic chance at winning that title. In the LMP2 Pros, it is currently Anders Meyer at the top, 9 points clear of Justin Adekonis. Bogdan Moldovan was strong last time out. He is in 3rd with Delachaz and Kustos rounding out the top 5. And in the LMP2 AMS, we have got Emmanuel Gachea after his race win last time out at the top. Hardy Smith, the race winner from round 1, in 2nd position at the moment. Luis Araya rounding out the top 3. We're starting to get a decent idea, I think, Chaz, now of the standings. I mean, just looking at the website, we have got some consistent finishers as such, but I think that LMDH AM Championship in particular I really have no clue on. It's been so open so far in the first two rounds. I think there's honestly 8 or 10 drivers who could win that still.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the two drivers that have won that class so far are currently 6th and 8th in the championship. There's 5 others that have been very consistent: Wells, Coles, Grassetto, O'Shea and Boberg. But again, they haven't been scoring massive points within their class, so I'm intrigued to see how that affects their sort of mental state from round to round and see exactly how they feel, because, like you said before, using a drop round at the start of a season is never ideal at all. You're always going to be on the back foot from there, and you're going to feel more and more pressure every single round. That's just the case with any sort of points as well, really. If you don't score as highly as you can do, or you've got the pace to do so, it'll just be there in the back of your head. Every single corner, every single overtake, you'll be thinking, right, I've now got myself ahead of X driver. That puts me now 1 point ahead of him in this race. But what does that mean for the championship? You always need more, and it's going to be a very mentally challenging time for the drivers, though. But this circuit is all about the mental games on the night, I think. So a lot of championship worries will be in the back of their minds.
Yeah, proper good race circuits is this one, which the drivers are going to have to negotiate. A little bit of a change to the qualifying format for tonight. So still doing qualifying. However, the drivers are limited to just 4 laps in qualifying rather than the unlimited. Now, that doesn't really make much of a difference around here in America because it's such a long circuit. I think it might just shorten it by maybe 1 lap, and say if there's a bit of inactivity at the end of the session, that will be why. The first times are going to be posted though. Kai Thiago Maito, fantastic result last time out, comfortably managed to take the race win at Road Atlanta. Currently he is on pole position here. However, this man Pascal Stix will be looking to get at least very close to him on the front row of the grid, and well, currently that's a fair bit off. I'm sure he will be posting improvements. No one can get close to Marteau though at the moment, as Gebhard goes to the top of the LMDH act.
Yeah, Kittleman and Wells popping their times up there as well, and now Tarocci goes to the fastest time, and he's actually faster than a lot of the LMDH pros as well. That's Balázs Tarocci, the Nero Racing Hungarian driver. He's right up there with them as we look at Lockie Brown for Indy Autosport. Moves all the way over to the right-hand side there. Not sure if the car just broke away slightly out of the final corner. He goes across the line to start another fast lap. LMP2 Pros at the moment, it's the championship leader Anders Meyer that is top of that pile ahead of Custers, and then Sampson right behind. But look at how close they are together here, Sam. It's nearly 2 minutes a lap round here in the LMP2s. They're about 150, 149s. And still, they're only separated by tenths of a second. Usually, the gaps are a little bit more amplified on a track like this, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the longer the lap, the bigger the gaps it should be. But the driver's so familiar, I guess, with this this circuit, handed round so many laps. It's such a satisfying circuit that it's easy to pound in the amount of laps that you need in order to get competitive here. So must be the reason why they are quite so close. Not particularly close though in the LMDH pros. I should point out that the class standings mean that the cars can the drivers within the pro and the AMs in each car class can mix into one another. So Tarocki currently is actually second fastest of the LMDH drivers, but still he's 9/10 of a second off Marteau as we wait to see what the core sim racing drivers can post, because they will surely be able to go up to second and third, but they're going to need a mighty lap in order to get near the Dutch driver of Marteau. I said he was Belgian earlier on. I apologise profusely, Kai Thiago, doing his nation of the Netherlands very proud.
He's absolutely flying, isn't he? He's been very, very quick all season. Really showed us how it was done at Road Atlanta last time out. As Engelhardt goes second fastest, still 8.5 tenths of a second off the top spot. Newman crosses the line. It doesn't look like he's improved either. He's still 1.2 seconds off. There is Engelhardt, second place out right now, second place in his class. And you're absolutely right, Sam. Tarocci is still up there in the LMDH AMS. He's third fastest overall. As across the line goes Kieran Smart. He decides to back out of that one. We now look at Stephen Mann, the privateer, currently in the LMP2 AM class. 33rd overall now, 4th in his class, but still hoping to improve. Looked a little bit wide of the mark out of the final corner there, and this is something I was talking to Dane about during the Road Atlanta round last time out, Sam. These cars, they're amazing at high speed. You know, the downforce is incredible. The speed at which they can corner is just disgusting. But when you put them in a bit of a sort of mid-speed corner and a bit of a low-speed corner, they can look really cumbersome and heavy and stiff and like a real pig to drive, can't they? It's quite the odd comparison, or odd contrast, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember driving these at Manucore a little bit, and yeah, through the chicanes, absolutely wonderful. And then you get into that hairpin, that left-hand hairpin in the middle of the lap, and it's just an absolute pain to be able to get through. So yeah, it's going to be a case for these drivers. Moldovan crossing the line at the moment, very strong last time out. He is currently in P4. I mean, he's only 0.3 of a second off, which normally would be very good, but actually, Guchea, who is an amateur driver in the LMP2 class, he is actually ahead of him. So Guchea, third place at the moment out of the LMP2 drivers as Marteau crosses the line. No improvement for him. I think that might be all 4 of his laps gone. No, actually, I think he might have another one spare, but he won't have time to do an out lap and a full lap. Here comes Marie across the line. He's currently in P4. And he remains P4. I think actually now that we've got this different qualifying front, the drivers can complete the lap that they start come the 10 minutes. So they don't have to complete the lap before the 10-minute ends. They can continue round for well, however long it takes.
Yeah, so long as they've started that final lap before the clock hits 0, they will get the time, I believe. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who leaves it right to the death. It also means that there's a little bit more suspense for us with lap times coming in and going up on the board. There's a lot of movement still going on. We've just had Alexander Weitzel go 8th fastest in his class. There's 2 of the LMDH AMs really mixing it in with the pros at the moment. Balázs Tarocki is still 3rd fastest overall, and Johnny Gebhard is 6th fastest as well. We've mentioned that on paper it's not always the case that they sort of filter into the necessary class order as such, and we're still seeing that now. It's really exciting to see as we ride on board with Sven Newman. We're expecting big things from Sven. He, of course, won the first race of the season back at Watkins Glen. I don't know why, Sam, but that already feels like absolutely forever ago, doesn't it? It's amazing.
It really does. It really does. And I'm sure when he's 1.2 seconds off the pace as well, it feels like a world away for Sven Newman. So yeah, he'll still got room for improving if he can just get on the front row of the grid. Well, I say just get on the front row of the grid. It's a very competitive field. It'll be tough to do, but he only needs to improve a little bit in order to at least get to 3rd place. So yeah, that is very attainable for him. A few people may be watching thinking, where is Daniel Merchant? Where is Kevin Cheyenne? Well, they both have qualifying bans after incidents in the second round of the championship. So that is why you are not seeing them out on circuit at the moment. They'll be starting on the back in their car class. As Newman still looking to improve. Gebhard also on a lap. He'll cross the line a little bit after Newman, but this is Newman's final attempt. It'll be Gebhard's final attempt as well. As of course, sim racing driver approaches the line. Vandenberg manages to post an improvement. He goes up into 8th overall, as Newman does move up into 3rd in the pros, but 5th overall in the LMDH category. So not perfect for him. Gebhard, can he improve it all? He's currently 8th overall in the LMP1s, and he goes up into 6th position. So excellent work for him. As the check flag is out, and it seems like we did transition straight over. So I'm slightly
interesting.
confused.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too. I'm sure the drivers will be.
No, okay, I figured it out. It's because it's a solo session. That's the reason.
Ah, right. I see. There we go. Grosseto, by the way, 2nd overall. Amazing stuff. So we've got 3 of the AMs and 3 of the pros in the top 6 outright.
Yeah, that's a rarity. There he is.
It is.
There is Grosseto, the Sakanya Endurance Motorsport. He's in 2nd place. Engelhardt, Turovsky, Newman, Gebhard, Marie, Duguay in 8th place. And then in 9th position, in 9th position was Vandenberg, Lockie Brown, Pascal Stix, starting in 11th place.
Wow.
Trying to remember, it was Newman won in the aerial trucks around this circuit. There you go, that's my fact for him around this track. Weitzel, Schmitz with a little bit of a poor qualifying. Remember, he's up in 3rd place in the championship, I think. Then it's Kittelman, Chia, Jack Wells, got some catching up to do, championship leader in the AMS. Then it's Zijeveld, Kieran Smart, Danilo Piazza, Haldas Utortus, Rory O'Shea, Kevin Viermont, Adam Coles, Morton Caffode, Carmen Sapini, Ricard Boberg, Guillaume Kempfer, Doriano Ricuti, Kevin Cheyenne, and Valentin Amblar in 30th place. It's a big old field. Then in the LMP2s, it is Anders Meyer, Bogdan Moldovan, Mark Kusters. Top of the AMS is Emmanuel Gachet. Then it's David Sampson, who does take the grid. Oliver Newbury in 36th overall. Then it's Alexander Delachaz, Sam Coleman, Justin Adekonis, Bruno Soyholm, Harley Smith, Dan Amor, Sutinu, Mahai, then it's Luis Araya, Stephen Mann, PJC, and Daniel Merchant. Just going through that field in the LMDH category, just remind me how quality the field is. There's so many good drivers. We've got fantastic drivers outside the top 20.
We've got a very international grid as well. It's really lovely to see, but certainly a tongue twister of a grid for us English commentators. So hats off, Sam. There are a lot of them out there that can really mess us up. But the important bit now is Thiago Marteau has 2 of the AMs behind him. They all score points within the class as long as they're in a BMW. Let's see how this plays into the hands of some of the AMs, or whether it affects the pro battles as well. We're just about to get underway at Road America.
Here we go, they're in the start zone. He can go whenever he wants, Thiago Marteau. This is when he decides to launch it, and we are away racing at Road America. It's a strong start for Churowski. I think he might be able to get past Engelhardt. It might be 2 AMs in the top 3 heading into turn 1, and that is the case. As, well, no, apologies, Engelhardt was able to hold on in all that in 3rd position. Very few changes, no changes in the top 14 so far. Great start for Kaiman Sapini. He's going 4 places. He's up into 18th position. As it got a spin around, it's Grassetto from the lead of the LMDH AMs. He'll be gut with that one, and we've got another spinner as well. I think that might be Kevin Viamont, and Valentin Amblad as well may have been involved as the LMP2s now get underway. Anders Meyer leading them across the line. There's Bogdan Moldovan and Mark Custas, but Gachea already looking to get past Custas. The teammates trying to work together. We've got the top driver out of the race straight away, and that was a collision, I think, between the teammates, and it has completely mixed up this race. Anders Meyer still leads the way, but Moldovan and Custas down the order immediately.
Unbelievable stuff. A massive hit in the rear there is Sven Newman. Sven Newman's gone around. He's had a problem later on in the lap. He's dropping down the order very quickly, and that is on the exit of the little left-hander just after Hurry Downs, which is turn 8 on this layout. Oh, that is humongous stuff, and that's important for the championship because Sven Newman won the first round of the season. He was all on his own. Is he just going to light it up on the exit? Oh, it doesn't even take the curb to spin it around. It was just already going. Cold tyres, a lot of power. And again, it's just one of those clumsy corners. Fabio Grassetto's had another issue halfway around his lap. But look at this. Thiago Marteau flying out front. Lovely stuff at the moment. Doing very, very well. And, well, I think he's doing a very good job, isn't he? Making it look very easy.
Yeah, he's seemingly in a league of his own at the moment. Engelhardt gaining that place on lap 1. Other big changes. Lockie Brown up 3 places so far. And what's this? Trying to gain another place. In fact, he's trying to get past Duguay now, but he's under pressure. Is Brown, veteran of the series, former LMP1 driver, champion, I believe, as well. I think in maybe season 3, Brown was. But trying his hand at the new hybrid-powered Pritz type in iRacing. And he's doing very well so far here at Road America. Kitzelman as well, up 2 places from his start. He's behind Weitzel and Stix, who are going at battle. Weitzel trying to hold on to this position, but I think Stix is going to have it. He's up into 7th place in the pros.
Yeah, there's a lot of shuffling going on now as all of these drivers go into the pits. So Shea, Newman, Vimont, Yatortus, Ricciuti. We've got Coles in the pits as well. Daniel Merchant isn't going anywhere by the look of it. But wow, oh wow, another busy start here in this race. And it's certainly looking like a busy one in the LMP2s. Anders Meyer, we've seen him sort of come from behind a little bit in the earlier races in the season, but now he's the one leading it in the early stages. He was very lucky actually not to get collected in that first corner incident, because the car that went flying behind him, Gachea, was completely sideways. That's a lovely move down the inside there by Alexandra Delatraz ahead of David Sampson. Oliver Newbury just behind all that. There's Dana Moore. Cars off in the background. Who was that? I was just trying to catch. I think that's Paul Joseph Clist. Again, he had a lot of troubles at Road Atlanta, and now he's in the middle of the road as some of them get recovering. Has he got damage on that car? Is it not behaving itself?
Still seems to be alright at the moment. There you go. Oh, actually, is that alright? Or is that just how the MP2 handles on my entire shot? It looks fine down the straight.
Just the LMP2.
But yeah, through the corners it looked a little bit shaky, at least through that right-hander. Yeah, there's not many corner names, unfortunately, around here, and the corner numbers make absolutely no sense, but I'm not going to rattle on about it because you've heard it all before. Frank Schmitz in 7th position at the moment, up 4 places on his start. He's actually up ahead of Pascal Stix now, but only 1.5 tenths of a second is the gap. Vandenberg's been able to pull away from these drivers slightly. Stix is going to try to maybe go down the inside, but he backs out of it. It's behind them where the battle's really going on. And that is Vital being overtaken by Kisman. Kisman now 3 places. He's 3rd out of the LMDH AMS.
Again, we've got more and more battles going on here. You can see Emmanuel Gachea for Walk Racing, and he's certainly having a bit of a problem with the front end of the car, but it's not stopping him leading the class. I thought it was Gachea that went off earlier on, but maybe I got the wrong one. Apologies. Still, it's all very busy in the LMP2s, and again, the slipstream is all about pulling out at the right time here, because you don't want to start on the straights here right behind the car in front. You want to get a big run up to the back of them, a big slingshot, even a bit of bump drafting going on there. Wasn't expecting to see too much of that, but then again, the front and the back of this car is very square, isn't it? So you can just sort of rest them against each other like pieces of Lego when you're going down the straight. Absolutely.
Just to remind as well, I mean, we heard some fuel saving there, some lifting and coasting. There's not a huge benefit to lift and coast because they're not fuel limited. They're not. Their fuel tanks aren't limited at all, so they should be able to reach, even around a very high fuel consumption circuit like this, about 35 minutes or so. But having that extra lap, if you can go 1 lap further in this first stint, then it can be an advantage. That extra lap on low fuel can maybe give you a second advantage or half a second advantage in comparison to someone who's on significantly more fuel. And so if there's no point in overtaking, may as well save a little bit of fuel and yeah, try to get that extra lap, maybe even extra 2 laps. And it could help out your strategy, especially could give you options by staying out in some clear air. Here comes Solholm. At the moment, he is with Maihei, and Maihei has been able to get back ahead for the Walk Racing team. Not been a fantastic start for them, with one of their cars crashing out, but for Saihei, he is doing very well. He is up 14 places overall. He is up 4 places in class. Good start for him.
Yeah, solid start indeed, and that's the thing. You need to make these little bits of progress early on. You know, every single position matters so much, and it's almost like what we said before about the championship. You know, I think if you're not on the back foot to begin with, it gives you that confidence to carry on pushing for the rest of the race. Gachea, obviously involved in a big old hit at the start of the race, will certainly be holding his head in his hands a little bit here. Here's poor Louis Araya, who Dane and I, commentators, cursed so much last week, and we really apologise to him for that. He ended up on the Apex socials, actually, because of it. He's having a good old battle here, though, with, that's Kevin Vimont, isn't it, in the Mecha Esport machine. Oh my goodness me, around the outside goes the BMW. Wow, oh wow. Sorry, it was Moldovan, wasn't it? The BMW's gone straight on. It looked a little bit over the top, didn't it, by Yotortis, and, well, unfortunately, he's overdone it himself for definite, as look at this lot now. All the BMWs trying to make their way through past the Laras, and we've seen a big difference in straight line speed and power this season, which you wouldn't really expect from one prototype to the next. They all tend to have similar power bands usually, but they've proven me wrong, that's for sure.
And this will be interesting. Can he get past here, Newman, before the kink, where he can do? And anyone who's done multiclass racing knows around this place. That is the ultimate, as we got cut. And that was lap traffic. So that's what we're going to see more of, I think, today, where if you're the faster class, you really want to get past during the kink because it really enables you to carry so much more speed down that next straight. But you've got to be cautious, and in the end, there's not a huge pace change in these cars, and so for the most part, it is better just to stay behind. But that was a hard slap into the wall for Dan and Moore. I hope he isn't going to have to come into the pits, but he certainly will have damage for the next 20 minutes or so if he doesn't have to come into the pits. Sam Coleman chasing down David Sampson, and I think that was also a move for someone further down the order. I'm not entirely sure who it was. Further up though, Roy O'Shea, yeah, in that LMDH, having to move his way through the LMP2s.
I'm just trying to look down the order and see whether there's actually a gap in the field, to be honest with you. Well, the LMP2's all very busy. Here's Balázs Tarocci leading the LMDH AMS at the moment, 3rd place outright. Fantastic performance so far, but he's got Johnny Gebhard right behind him. It's not like he's got a couple of pros between him and his class rival at this point.
Issue for Harley Smith.
Yeah, Harley dropping down just a moment there, wasn't he?
Yeah, second place in the LMP2 AMS, but he's recovered somewhat as such a slow corner to go side by side. It's fairly narrow, and you really need as much turning width as he can possibly get in order to carry the necessary speed. So Smith limits the damage, albeit I think he's putting himself into more damage by missing apexes like that. Maihei and Solholm are the cars directly behind, and yeah, I think Smith lost out to maybe Adakonis and Beermont, I think, in order. That'll be Newman and Beermont are in the BMWs, took pit stop. So do Ron, as we've got a car in the wall in the background. I think that was Dana Moore after that slap with the wall. I wonder if that has something to do with that incident. I'm sure he'll be saying it did.
Yeah, I don't think the car would have been behaving itself after the smack that it had earlier on. It looked like a big old hit, didn't it? And I mean, these things are already square on all sides, and when you do clap the wall sideways like that, it can knock so many components out of shape, and it can really harm the suspension. And you and I both know, Sam, I think everyone watching will know just how fragile these cars can be aerodynamically and underneath as well. So here is Dana Moore, just comes out the left-hander, clips the gravel a little bit there, didn't look too bad. He's touched the grass slightly. Oh, that unsettled it to begin with. Has a hell of a tank slapper. And
yeah,
somehow...
so was at the carousel a couple of corners later, wasn't it? But this very much demonstrates to us that car was not in a good position. Often when the rear tyre actually has gone, like I think it has done on Dan's car, it's not totally obvious until you get into sort of a mid-corner like that. So yeah, that's undoubtedly the car playing tricks. There's Weitzel past Kittelman. So Kittelman, after making many places up earlier on, losing one of them there, but I think he's going to go and get it back because Weitzel is off into the wall, dipped a tyre onto the grass, and that's not what the privateer wanted.
No, that's the low downforce spec on the rear now, unfortunately for him. He actually jumped straight back to the pits, but big drama. Big contact and a massive shunt into the barriers, but that's just how easily it can happen in these sorts of races and in these sorts of cars. You know, everybody is going to be thinking about the long run, but all of a sudden you can find yourself in a situation where you're overwhelmed, you've got loads of cars around you, and at the speed they're all doing, it can be split-second decisions. I mean, look at these drivers now, just dipping out of the slipstream and then dipping back in again under the brakes. It's amazing to watch the movement that these BMWs have. And I mean, let's face it, the Dallara is no slouch either. But again, these guys now all in the slipstream, just sticking together. It's not having as much of an effect as we would have thought to sort of give them a definite overtaking opportunity. We now have to consider, is there fuel saving going on though, Sam? Because we've seen it before, haven't we?
Yes, what Watkins going was absolutely brilliant. And we will have one more longer race later on in the season at Sebring. And I wonder if that will be the same case there. But yeah, still a little bit of fuel saving going on out on track as Kitzelman leads the train. I'm trying to think of some kind of alliteration because you have the trolley train. I can't really think of any locomotive synonyms which start with K, unfortunately. But let us know in the chat if you can think of any. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, in the time you said that, I was trying to...
Kittelman Carriage has been
Kittelman
told
Carriage.
by Lewis Ward.
Yes.
A far greater commentator than me or you, Chaz.
Indeed.
Brilliant call. The Kittelman Carriages.
The Kittelman Carriage. There you go. I like that. That is very solid, Lewis. I'll give you that. Lewis recently crowned Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge Champion as well, a league that I've been running. And he won it for Apex Racing Academy. Unfortunately, him and his teammate Dan McCauley only just missed out on the team's championship, but they took it right down to the wire. So hats off, Lewis. He's one of those blokes that can do everything, and it's really annoying. So hats off, Lewis, but please stop. At the same time, though, Vandenberg is cracking on here. He's got Smits and Sticks behind him, though. Sounds like a really bad law firm. And they're just off the back of that train in front, aren't they? 1.6 seconds ahead to Australian Lockie Brown. And it just doesn't look like they're able to do enough here. You've got to think, though, that Smits and Sticks will see that and think, right, this is an opportunity to work together here and move forward, guys. Yeah,
yes, Smits and Sticks just sound odd, doesn't it? Vandenberg, yeah, they've got to be working together, have these guys. They can afford to, or they have the potential to lose a lot of time by battling, but they all seem very similar pace. And yeah, these last few laps have been very similar. And yeah, they did get a fair bit close. Vandenberg 0.3 of a second slower on that last tour of the circuit. By the way, Engelhardt just took 0.4 of a second off Marteau. So if that gap's getting a little bit bigger, 4.1 seconds. Some response there from Engelhardt, but still the race clutch driver very comfortably in the lead. Maybe if we could go back right to the start and view the incident that we saw for Bogdan Moldovan going into turn 1. I was very confused by what was going on. I thought the leader was wiped out as well, but Meyer was able to escape through it all. But it seems to be an incident between the walk racing drivers as Engelhardt just puts a lap on one of the amateur LMP2 drivers. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy start, Chaz. And yeah, the type of stuff that you often see here at Road America, it is a narrow circuit as Lewis absolutely nailing this. He's got the race start for us.
Yeah, let's have a look then, see exactly what happened. You're right, it is the two teammates glued together. Oh, that is unbelievable for Anders Meyer, though. How he survived that, I do not know. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was Gachea that got hit by Moldovan, but it was Moldovan that got hit by Gachea, hence the damage on the front of Gachea's car, and he managed to stay near the front. Anders Meyer, I'd say, is probably the luckiest one there, though, to be fair, because he got an actual tap, but it didn't set the car up enough for a big slide. Once again, they're seeing just how narrow this circuit is as Johnny Gebhard goes down the inside of Tarocci for the class lead, nearly leans on him on the exit. But you were right, Sam, it's a very old school circuit this. It's narrow, there's grass everywhere, there's close barriers. It's how a circuit should be, in my opinion. There's no massive runoff in many places on this circuit anyway. There's a little bit here and there of concrete runoff and big curbs, but I still think it's a proper old school track, and that's exactly why drivers love it. You know, it's a real proper challenge.
Yeah, I keep on watching back on this race start, and yeah, it's absolutely. How has Meyer not gone off there? I mean, it's absolutely incredible. He's been like shoved round the corner by a car's door because it's just propelling into him, and he just doesn't get affected by it. Absolutely incredible there. I mean, that's a miracle there that Meyer is still in the lead of this race. And I was also just looking back at David Sampson as well. And he went into the back of one of his rivals. Could have been Alexander Delachas, I think. That he was extremely close to making contact. So yeah, really could have been a lot worse that turn 1. We're now seeing that is Portuguese Luis Uraya in the AM category managing to overtake Bruno Sorholm in the pro category. Sorholm, I think, with a bit of an issue recently. In fact, both of them just had a very poor lap, 2 seconds off the pace for the pair of them. As also Kempford just going past Sapini. In fact, Sapini's had a little bit of a problem here. He's dropped 2 places. Seidefeld and Cheyenne getting past Sapini. One of the best starters out on track, but he's just lost a couple of those places that he originally gained.
Yeah, not quite sure what's happened there, but I'm sure we're about to find out. So here we are then, going round the final sector. There's a couple of the LMP2s in amongst this here. He's got one of his teammates just in front. Oh, there's a big old check-up. He goes to the left-hand side, hits the back of his teammate. Oh, and that's one of the worst corners to go off, isn't it, Sam? Because it's a long, sweeping right-hander, and as soon as you touch the grass on the left there, then it's just a painful ride of gradually going further and further off the circuit while trying to get the car stopped, while trying not to spin it round. I'm sure you and I have both, between the two of us, had many offs around there, just on the brakes innocently as well.
Yeah, very VIR or Mosports-esque.
Oh, yeah.
Every corner is a long radius corner where if you touch the grass, you're off for half a minute or so.
Oh, I hate VIR.
I love VIR, but not visiting it in this championship, visiting it in actually the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, which starts up in a couple of weeks' time. Sign-up's still open for that. That's drivers already signing up for that Friday evenings. A couple of other Apex Racing League Series as well coming up. Our F4 Championship returns on Saturday. You can still sign up for that. 35 drivers already registered for that one. Sign-up's currently filled for this championship, unfortunately. But we've also got potentially a championship in the Renault Clio coming up in 3 weeks' time as well. So do keep your eyes peeled on the Apex Racing League social medias and our Discord server as well. Link in the description for them. That could be a lot of fun. We've been discussing the schedule so far today, Chaz, and we've got some pretty good ideas for circuits.
It's a great car no matter where you take it. A lot of people will know that, you know, it's been my bread and butter for the last couple of years, being the lead English commentator on Clio Cup Europe, and I've had many adventures around Europe with them, and boy oh boy am I excited for that car to come to iRacing, because even if I think they haven't completely nailed it, you know, even if they haven't quite got it right, it's still going to be an amazing race car. And you all know what iRacing are like, they always get it right. That's why they spend so long on these cars. They get inputs from the real teams and real drivers. I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, so I'm excited for that one, and there definitely will be a league on Apex very soon, I'm sure, which I hope to catch and maybe even commentate on. That'd be very astounding, I think, for me. I'll be I'll be loving it, you know, commentate on the virtual counterpart of something I've done in the real world. It'll be a hell of a lot of fun. Anyway, Sasha Engelhardt currently second in this race at the moment, 5.6 seconds off Thiago Marteau, and after a bit of a shaky first round for Marteau, he's certainly showing us exactly what he can do now, because in that first round he finished, well, way down actually, didn't he? Where on earth was he in the first round? Apologies. 13 points he got. Sorry, 13th place in the first round. And then he got a win with pole and fastest lap. So he was very under the radar in the first round of the season. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this amazing pace that he's finally shown came to the fore. And now he's doing it again. It's amazing.
Yeah, of course, two-time Apex Racing Academy Formula 3 champion. I think he's won more races than anyone else in the IGP Fun Championship as well, which we broadcast on a Sunday night. So he is terrific in single-seaters, and no surprise he's translating that. Also amateur champion in the Porsche Cups one season. Johnny Gebhardt is under significant pressure from Balazs Tarowski. I think Tarowski might just be waiting behind. I'm not entirely sure. He got very close heading into turn one, and I think he backed out of it. So I think these two are quite happy just to stay like this for now. Certainly this lead battle plus the lead battle for the LMP2 Pros looking very healthy as it stands.
Yeah, that's it. I think, Tarocci is definitely sitting there. Now that Gebhardt's got in front, he's thinking, right, I've got a chance to save fuel now. I know that I've got some pace in my back pocket. Let's see what we can do. This is second place in the LMP2 Pros. This is Alexandre Delatraz, the Frenchman, just ahead of Oliver Newbury at the moment, following him in the same class. Let's not forget, as Sam explained earlier on, all of the LMP2s are basically ranked for points based on their car class, so all of the LMP2s. So whether you are an AM or a Pro, you are basically scored on your finishing position within all of the Delaras, same with the BMWs. These guys are in the same class, so it means even more for them to get these extra positions and to fight for what they've got. The car behind them is Emmanuel Gachea. He's still leading the LMP2 AMS. I'm getting there still with it. He's had a second and a first so far this season. He's only 2 points clear, though, of Harley Smith, which just shows you that even if you don't finish as high in your class, if you finish in a higher overall position within your cars, that is still important. That's why it's an exciting championship, isn't it, Sam? Because it's not just down to class position with like 1 or 2 points going each way here. It's about overall positions as well.
Yeah, it really benefits someone like Gachea, who can put currently 3 cars between himself and Smith, and he will be rewarded for that, rather than it just being, yes, as you say, maybe just 2 points over his rival instead. Simpson, a couple of paces further down than where he started, as Frank Schmitz has been in battles for the entire race. Awful qualifying for Schmitz. I think he'd concede on that one, down in 13th place for a driver at least that we expect to see up on the front couple of rows on the grid after sitting so far in 3rd place in the LMDH Pro Championship. But he's much faster in the race. He cannot quite get this move done so far. There's a swipe between the pair of them from this position. Smith should have the upper hand. These cars wide enough that around the outside at turn 6 is going to be exceptionally difficult, and Schmitz is up into 5th position, 7th place overall in the LMDH category, and that is 6 places up from where he started, but he's messed it up. He's gone wide, and he's going to have to redo that move all over again.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so easy to sometimes just get one over on someone that's just overtaken you. You know, the cutback and the driving ability of these cars, or sorry, the drivability of these cars is just amazing. You can really throw them around if you need to, and you will see drivers compromise themselves with a big send or what is a lovely manoeuvre down the inside, but someone will definitely try and get the cutback on you and go one better on the exit of a corner. You could just see in the rearview mirror there of Frank Smith that there's a lot of these BMWs piling past some of the Delaras. The pace of this car around this circuit is terrifying. I've driven around here in GTs, GTEs, you know, and the occasional open wheeler as well. I remember for some reason driving a Formula Renault around here, the 3.5. But this BMW makes even a car like that look slow. You know, the drama of it is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I certainly looking at the images of Road Atlanta when I was watching the broadcast last week. Seeing it just rattle the S's was quite something. I think it's something about these, and I don't want to get too Formula 1 focused, but when we go to these sports car circuits, these are the fastest cars we ever see around this track, and so we get so used to like the limits of maybe a GT3 car that when we see these things, it's absolutely mind-blowing that they can produce so much speed. As Sticks moves past, that's a spin.
Hello.
For Lockie Brown has gone straight on. Wow, that's happened very early on in the corner. I can only imagine that's contact. You can't lose it that early.
Either that or it's Lockie down. He's locked his brakes and now he's going down the order. He's got a Dallara in front of him. That was bottom of the barrel, I'm sorry. Gets onto the brakes and, yeah, just goes around on the brakes. It's very, very sudden, though. The way it spins is incredible. I remember Dane saying just last week that he hasn't really seen a prototype spin quite that quickly before, but they seem to have a habit of it, don't they, these BMWs? They run a very rearward brake bias. As soon as you snap it and just lock up that rear axle, it throws itself past the front end very aggressively.
Yeah, going that very rearwards brake bias, I assume because of the entry recovery system, which just recharges from the rear brakes, and completely taking control of the car there, slightly offset by the back marker, I'm sure, of Solholm, but I'm sure even Brown won't be complaining about the Swedish driver's antics right there. Marto, just it can be so patient. It makes it so much easier, doesn't it, when you can go through traffic, just taking your time, 6.5 seconds up the road. And well, often it can be the case as well, Chaz, that when you're in a position like this, sometimes the track can just come at the perfect time. It can sort of snowball either way round, and right there for Marto, losing barely any time in that traffic.
Looked like Delatraz had to just adjust his braking slightly there. He nearly went into the back of Oliver Newbury, and that's the dangers of following so closely in cars like this. They do have brake lights to these cars, unlike your sort of Formula Renaults, but still, they stop so quickly that if somebody does get on the brakes a little bit earlier than you expect, when you're right behind them, you have next to no time to react, and it can be very terrifying. So you need to be certainly careful at places of the circuit like that. When you're in the slipstream, you've got the overspeed. There's a lot for these drivers to think about over the course of a race. It's not just like throwing a touring car or a GT car around where you can get away with a bit of slide and a bit of misbehaving from the car. They're either on rails or they're not. They're like scale-electric machines, these cars. But Newbury, currently second overall in the LMP2s and second in the LMP2 Pros as well. Looks like Anders Meyer is starting to open up a bit of a gap ahead of them, though. 3.3 seconds. He's got a bit of company right now. That is not for overall position, though. That is our race leader, Thiago Marteau, just behind for Race Clutch. He's going to fly past on the right-hand side as they go up the hill. I love that rise up the hill across the line. Seen so many great drag races there to the finish. But look at that BMW. When it gets going, stretches its legs in a straight line. It's a rocket ship, isn't it?
Absolutely. It can be even more of a rocket ship by getting the right setups and getting driver tuition for it as well. Supplied by Apex Racing Academy, professional commentator Sam Fitzpatrick. 29 data packs available from Apex Racing Academy. Setups, chat guides. It's integrated with the Virtual Racing School as well. You can join the weekly group coaching sessions, which are included in your subscription. We all use it here at Apex Racing TV. It really does help us out. I'm sure Lewis as well was using it during his championship winning season very recently in the GT4s, and also next season there's NASCAR as well. The next gen A-class vehicles are going to be covered by Apex Racing Academy, so really exciting stuff. That's not just road racing, but also the rallycross and now oval racing as well. Lockie Brown just making a move there on Kieran Smart, and also just saw Dave Sampson coming into the pit, so seems very much like the pit window is open, albeit that's very early. You can certainly go further on fuel than that, but deciding to maybe pick up a fast repair if there's any slight dinks on the car so far.
Well, that's the thing. I think sometimes as a driver, if you do have the odd dink, as you call it, here and there, you need to consider whether it's affecting the car enough to come in that little bit earlier, so you're not just losing time by staying out longer. The drivers will definitely be able to make it past the half-hour mark here, I'd say. Even though it's one of those circuits where you are flat out for so long, they will just about make it through, so we're only going to see the one pit stop from them. There were a few drivers at the start of the season, though, that made the strategy work very differently, but of course that was a longer race, 1 hour and 15 minutes, that one. We're nearly at the halfway point already here, Sam. I'm actually amazed at how quickly that's come around, but once again, we've got so much going on up and down the field, 4 different classes to keep our eyes on. So we always need to have them peeled on what is a very colourful and massive timing screen. It's great to look at, though.
Yeah, we really need like maybe a square screen, I reckon.
Yeah.
In order to get all the names in on the left side. Even then, it would be very tricky. You need a very tall screen. As here comes Chia up the inside of Kittelman, and that is done. Nicely done there from Chia. He hasn't pulled away much though when making that overtake, so you may well have to defend into the next corner. Kittelman with a very poor lap last time out for Indy Autosport, but the LMDH driver just 4 tenths to a second behind, and actually continuing to lose pace down the straight. Now that could be a setup choice, or it could be some damage maybe that the German has picked up.
Well, I'm just looking now to see what their previous lap times were, and it was about 8 tenths of a second slower for Kittelman. Not sure how much he would have had to sort of compromise to let Noah Chia through. Not that he let him through without a fight, to be fair, but you know, it always does take quite a bit off your lap times, to be fair. Down into the tight left-hander. We've not actually seen anybody go off down there actually at turn 8 since, of course, Newman went off at the very start of the race. It seemed like a really uncharacteristic mistake, that, for Newman. He's actually right behind Balazs. Well, I was going to say right behind. It's about 3.8 seconds, so I'll eat my own words. But Balazs Sirocci is 3.8 seconds up the road from him. Both of them have lost 12 places from where they started. I'm intrigued to see how they get on in the later stages of this race, whether they can continue to pick up more places. Here's Moldovan having a battle right now with Harley Smith. Harley is 3rd in the LMP2 AM class. Moldovan is 7th in the LMP2 Pros, and this is one of those painful moments, isn't it, Sam, where he's trying to get past the driver in the class below him, but still, this matters for overall championship points.
Moldovan going off at turn 1 on lap 1, so he is very much a faster driver than Smith, but he cannot outrun him at the moment. It's just a bit lazy, isn't it? And well, you will soon surely be past the man currently sitting in 31st place overall. Of course, may well be coming into the pit as well, but Smith P3 out of the LMP2 AMS. He might be up into P2 actually soon, because Emmanuel Kachea has decided to come into the pit, seeing a lot of early pit stops. If you're in traffic, may well be worth just going into the pits. And these two are very evenly matched. That was 3:17. That was a Coleman just ahead of Gachea. Come on, guys, let's not crash on pit exit. No, they sort themselves out in the end. And it is Coleman who manages to come out ahead, and he manages to get a car as well between himself and that other driver. And that was, well, actually, no, Gachea did stay ahead. Samson now right with these drivers. This is all for position, but of course, Sim Racing BMW just moving his way past, and Samson sees this opportunity on Gachea, and he wants to take it immediately if he possibly can.
Yeah, he needs to try and push through as quickly as possible, then go chasing after Sam Coleman, because he's in his own battle with Aracones. Again, look, Samson just waiting slightly. Gachea doesn't want to be disturbed too much, but he himself has a big chase ahead of him actually to try and catch up to Louis Araya. But still, there's a lot of positions and a lot of cars between them both. 32.5 minutes through this race now, so more and more pit stops will come in. We've actually seen quite a few of them by the look of it so far. It's the top 13 cars outright that haven't been in. I know 13 isn't spelled with an F at the beginning, but that's just me getting it wrong because I thought it was 14. Still, we've got plenty for these guys to think about later on into the race. And now, they've all had a chance to get into a rhythm, haven't they? That's the important thing at this stage, Sam. Getting into a rhythm in races like this is very important. Now we're going to see how people get knocked out of said rhythm. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Yeah, the tyres can cool down whilst you're in the pits, and yeah, can be unsettling for the drivers a bit. I do believe they change tyres really ought to know this. I think we saw it in round 1. Yeah, they do change tyres because the fuel takes so long anyway that you may as well just take the tyres as well because they are taken simultaneously. Here comes Delachaz. There's an absolute barrage of cars coming over the crest, but he is well clear of it. So that's a nice place for Delachaz to come back out. Coleman's just got past Adekonis, by the way, but that is between teammates. So I was getting very confused between the two of them. Because they are teammates, obviously. Adekonis was able to just nip ahead when Coleman came out of the pits, but Coleman, seemingly the faster driver, and they've decided to switch positions right there. But a good chance for some strong points for ATRS Academy as it stands. Another shout out, by the way, to SDK Gaming, the providers of our overlay. This work overlay looks so good. I maintain it is the best overlay that we have. It's just so transparent. I love it. Seeing the entire track, and then the names just are slightly over the top of it. Doesn't mean you make much of a point, not making of a good point, but it just looks nice. And if you think it looks nice, you should get an SDK subscription. Go to sdk-gaming.co.uk to get yourself a 14-day free trial.
And I've been using SDK for a long time, and I can definitely vouch that it is the best overlay software I've used. It's so, I wouldn't say it's easy to customize if you want to do your own overlays, but of course it does give you the ability to make an overlay that looks basically however you would like it to look. I modified mine for the 1997 Formula 1 World Championship graphics, and it looks very tasty indeed. But it's great as a broadcasting tool as well to help obviously switch between drivers and cars. I saw a broadcast the other day, no disrespect to this person that was doing it, because everyone wants to give it a go and everyone wants to broadcast and give the best sort of TV show effectively as it is that they can, but there was a driver manually clicking between all the buttons to, show different cars and so on. It just doesn't have the same edge. Obviously, this is what it's all about in professional broadcasting here, is to have these graphics, have the tools that do it as well. It is a real good piece of kit, and even if you wanted to try it as well, I definitely urge you to do so, whether it be for your own streams or whether it be for broadcasting, like we're doing today. It is a great bit of kit, so please do pick it up. Here's Kevin Chyon. He's got Kittleman right behind him, still all over the back of him. This is Pro with Am behind, and again, one of those real confidence building moments for Kittleman. I know both of them are very talented, but still, he's all over the back of a pro driver, and it's all about overall championship points, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It just doubles the amount of drivers that you're battling against, really. Chyon was half a second fast on that last lap, so I think, is he pulling away? Yeah, so I think he's pulling away. Kittleman struggling a little bit out there at the moment. I feel like he was a little bit stronger at the start of the race. He's up 4 places though from his race start. Chyon up 20 places going for Chyon. Did have a pit lane start to serve, and he will have another pit lane start to serve next time out as well. And a little bit of a mare at Road Atlanta. But well, if you can perform like this, then those pit lane starts, or apologies, qualifying bans, won't affect him too much. He's still going to be scoring decent points, and well, it's a question of how far up he can get. Maybe Vandenberg, but if you can get Vandenberg, then you can very much get Schmitz as well. So he has a mission to get a couple of Dutch drivers. By the end, no one's going to get Kyoto Argo Marteau though by the end of this race as it stands. Just looking at the LMP2 Pro lead battle, everyone's now made pit stops in that category, apart from Luis Araya. Yeah, Maya now 5.5 seconds ahead of Newbury. It's not a big pace advantage for Maya, but he's sort of just eking that out by a couple of tenths every single lap.
Yeah, and that's important. You can get into a driver's head by doing that. That's the thing. He may not be taking seconds out of him per lap, but if you can just start chipping away at it, the driver ahead will be looking at their relative. Everyone says that they don't pay attention to relative, but they're absolute liars. They all do. He'll be looking at that and thinking, oh God, he's getting closer and closer. Drivers often have a sort of reference point, so when you cross the line, that's when you'll have a look and you'll think, right, what's the gap there this time? Or what's it like here? As around him goes one of the WS machines. Just trying to figure out, was that Noah Chia going past him? Now Chia looking down to the inside. I don't think that was him, was it? Oh, that was close there, though, between Newbury and whichever of the BMWs it is that Chaz has been confused by. Delachaz now down the inside of Newbury. This is for class position, second place in the LMP2 Pros. And what we see there, Sam, is a direct example of just how the traffic can affect the other classes.
Yeah, it wasn't even seemingly that sort of disadvantage, but it was just a case of you got to hesitate on the turn in when you got a car on your inside, and a brilliant run there from Delachaz. Absolutely wasn't put off. It's so easy when you see an opportunity like that to have a rush of blood to the head, but he kept it absolutely cool. Took a fantastic line, and look at the way he's pulling away now, trying to pick the draft as well. He knows that every hundredth of a second counts at this point round this circuit in order to get out to that draft range. He wants to have a comfortable run to second place if he can possibly get it. A lot of the LMDHs now coming into the pits. We've already seen a few of them opt into the pits, the likes of Styx and Turochki and Newman and co. But a few more are coming in. Duguay, Marie, Vandenberg, Kitzman and Kempfer. So they re-enter the circuit now. Styx is around those jars, but Styx is still behind. And so the championship leader not gaining a whole lot there. He did come in for a slightly earlier pit stop than many of his rivals. Apologies, Newman, who is currently the championship leader, albeit if it ended like this, Styx would overtake him, I believe. This is for position though. Marie versus Duguay. They have both just come into the pits. Marie had a much longer pit stop, 4 seconds longer station. I'm not sure if Duguay actually took tyres. 19 seconds. If anyone on the chat has any information on that, would appreciate it. Duguay is currently ahead with that very short pit stop. So either a lot of fuel saving. I think it was actually just fuel saving, you know what, Chaz? And Marie taking more fuel than pretty much anyone else out there.
Yeah, I think they were both at either end of the spectrum with that, weren't they? I think Duguay has managed to save fuel, like you say, and then Clement Marie has taken more than everybody else. I think there was only one pit stop behind him that was longer, and that was Balázs Tarocci for Nero Racing. The Hungarian took 26.1 seconds in the box, so certainly a longer stop for him. And there he is on our screens now, car 216 in the LMDH AMS, fourth in that class at the moment, 57 seconds off the leader. But of course Gebhard is in the pits, so too is Jack Wells, so we're intrigued to see how they come back out onto the circuit and what the order is there. As just in front of Pascal Styx, there's a great battle going on between Marie and Duguay, the two Frenchmen opening this battle up though, and Styx says thank you very much, I'm going to quite literally stick my nose down the inside there, I'll take that. Through he goes, gets past Duguay, and look how much time Duguay loses just in being overtaken there. That's the compromise, isn't it, in this sort of racing? It's bonkers.
Yeah, awful lap for Duguay. It really looked like he was going to be able to make some time there, but yeah, losing out to both Marie and Styx in the second half of that lap. Miserable time for him. And now we got one of the geodesic cars coming out to the pits. That was Schmidt. Vandenberg only just ahead. Cheyenne still behind these guys. Cheyenne, I was saying he might not be able to catch anyone else. He is going to be in line to catch up to these guys, just going over the crest in the background right there. As we have Wells coming out of the pits as well. He's 2.3 seconds behind Turochki. So Wells gained 8 seconds in the pit stop compared to Turochki. So that second place in the LMDH AMS is very much alive. But here comes Turochki. That is past Duguay, who continues to drop places. Wells, meanwhile, trying to make progress. And that is on Frank Schmitz, who had been making very good progress, but a longer pit stop for Schmitz, 24 seconds, one of the longest pit stops we've seen in the LMDH Pros, has really set back the geodesic racing driver, and he's going to have to redo a few of the overtakes that he'd already completed.
Yeah, it's going to be very frustrating for him having to redo the work, but that's just part of these sorts of races. You know, it's not a solid sprint to the end based on raw pace. You have to think about the pit stops, and it's great because the pit stops can really shake up the field, because some drivers, they don't specialise in being able to calculate the fuel or set a pit stop up before they come in, you know, and they're not masterful at getting stopped at the right box either. It can be so fickle, can pit stops, and that's what keeps it exciting. Satino Mihai just having a bit of a flash in and out there. He's got Harley Smith just behind him for Outrun Motorsports. Again, the irony of Outrun Motorsports following the Walk Racing machine. Two of them kind of similar from certain angles as well, by the look of it. Definitely having a good old battle. Here's Duguay, and just behind him, Frank Smits now starting to put that pressure on. They need to stick with Jack Wells and Marcel Vandenberg in front as well. Wells is the only one here that's in the LMDH AM class as well, and he needs to make sure that they can drag him further forward, because Balázs Tarocci is only 3.2 seconds up the road as well. Plenty for these guys to think about, as we're just over 15 minutes from the end here at Road America. That's about one lap, isn't it, around here, Sam? It's quite a long place to get around.
Yes, yeah, certainly when we take the Clio to see this, like, it'll be maybe, what, 2 minutes 30? Something like that, 2 minutes 40?
Yeah, I reckon.
To a lap.
Yeah, I reckon maybe about 220 around here, I'd say.
This is going to be speed.
there's going to be a lot of slipstreaming like this that we're seeing now from Jack Wells. That was a very big overspeed, wasn't it? He suddenly just boosted past him. It was like he used some sort of ERS there. That was amazing. But down the inside he goes, and that now puts him ahead of 3 pro drivers: Marcel van den Berg, Kevin Dorgay and Frank Smits, 2 Dutch drivers and the Frenchman in the middle. But he's going to be focusing on the car in front, which is Balázs Tarocci, the Hungarian. Again, just a little word on how international this grid is. I mean, there's a segment in the middle of the field where I don't think we have the same nationality twice in a row. We've got the German Kevin Kittelman, then we've got drivers from Scotland, Netherlands, France, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Lithuania, and then France, Norway, France, the UK, Romania, America, Sweden, Australia, Italy. It's just amazing. A really mixed grid. I love it. We've even got Latvian as well. Pascal Stix. Sorry, Austrian. It's not the Latvian flag, my bad. They're the same, but not the same. If that makes sense. The white stripe is smaller on the Latvian flag. Anyway, I'm getting carried away with flags now. They excite me. Sorry, Sam.
And all the corners as well being represented. We've got Australians, we've got Brits, and we've got Americans as well.
Yes.
And yeah, that is very good. A few Russians, a few Brazilians would be appreciated as well in the racing. Have a proper international event, as Duguay is absolutely millimeters away from Smits. There he goes up the inside. Brilliant stuff. That was Van den Berg approaches. And the spin off in the background. That's Duguay and Cheyenne. That's the teammates again. Teammates at turn 1. And they're almost colliding as they come back onto circuit as well. I wasn't paying it full attention, if I'm honest there, Jazz. Did you see what happened?
I was also looking at the timing screen just to see what the next battle was like, because I was going to say, if there's contact between Dorgay there and, was it Kittelman next to him? Oh no, sorry, Dorgay was on the outside. Oh, he loses
he just lost it by himself. Oh man.
Oh,
do they collide again? Yes, they do. Oh, dear.
Sandwiches him into the wall as well. That's nightmare fuel, that is. The 2 Frenchmen ended up in the barriers, and I'd be certainly surprised if at least one of them doesn't have big damage. Dorgay looks like he's taken a lot longer to get going again. Cheyenne still up the road, getting overtaken by Kieran Smart, Scottish driver down the inside. That car doesn't look like it's behaving itself. I said earlier on they were fragile, but in incidents like that, it's like they're made out of cracker bread, isn't it, Sam? They really do crumble.
Just hope that Cheyenne hasn't already used his fast repair. It is automatically on when you come into your pit stop, but I don't think he had any collisions, at least in the first half of the race. He certainly was very quick at the end of his first stint, so he will hopefully have that fast repair spare. Otherwise, he might get a 0 score. You need to finish 5 laps down or less on your class leader, your car class leader, in order to score points. 6 laps or less, actually. Now I recall. Zijeveld, he is up 5 places. Kieran Smart is up 5 places. They both just got past Cheyenne and Duguay, which have very much helped those statistics. And Smart's going to line this one up nicely, albeit just drops a couple of tenths of a second on corner exit, and I think that will compromise his attempts at making a move as they head on to their 25th tour of this Elkhart Lake circuit.
Yeah, flying down the start-finish straight. The slipstream doesn't do as much in these cars. They're so aerodynamically efficient that the slipstreaming doesn't do a humongous amount. It's interesting to see, really. But still, Kieran Smart trying to catch Zijeveld. Yep, Smits and Wells swapping around once again. Smits down the inside into turn number 5. Apparently it's turn number 5, but still I think it's turn 3. Anyway, back up the hill they go under the legendary bridge. Marcel van den Berg watching all of this from just behind them now for Crashbot. As whoa, Zijeveld, sorry, not Zijeveld, Smits goes wide. Literally reading what I was seeing there as I look back at Zijeveld again to see what the gap was. All of a sudden, Van den Berg smells blood in the water here. Chases down the beast racing machine of Jack Wells. I was just talking to their team manager yesterday, actually, Drew Adamson of iRacing. And Drew was saying it's been a busy time for the team. Plenty going on. A team I used to race for as well. They've still got that sort of iconic blue and black livery. They've always had that metallic blue since the spec maps were made available with the camouflage rear wing. Look at that. Van den Berg, though, gets right up behind him, realises that there's better options there to back out, wait for the start-finish straight as an overtaking opportunity. This is very busy indeed. But just look at the change of direction, how quickly everything happens in these cars. I really do admire the driving capability of the people that throw these about.
Yeah, it really is quite something as they start the charge up once again up the hill. It's so fast flowing, this circuit, and well, credit to Wells, he hasn't allowed Smits to get away, and credit to Smits as well, because it was a long pit stop for him. We were saying how he's got to redo a lot of the work, but he's pretty much redone it. He's got 7.5 seconds to Balesh Turuski, but bar that, he's pretty much maximised this one, I think. Oh, that's a big slide for Vandenberg on the corner exit. Turn 2 is under the radar. I think actually maybe the corner that I struggle most with this circuit, Chaz, it's one of them, as Chia is going to be able to make his way past Vandenberg as well. One of them where it's not just a simple get through it corner like this one, where you brake, you turn, and you accelerate. Turn 2, you have to be aggressive through it in order to carry the speed. So you really have to throw it in, but also get that perfect exit because it's such a long straight afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. The exit is so imperative there, but it's one of those corners that draws you in because it's got a really long apex to it. You have to turn in quite late, but it invites you in early on. You always turn in. I say always. Most of the time you'll find yourself turning in. Maybe clip the grass a little bit on the inside. You can see it's been worn away, and then clip the gravel and the grass on the outside as well because you've turned in early and the car washes out wide. It can be a real nightmare. So the fact that these guys get it so right all the time in cars this quick is just a testament to their talent as well.
O'Shea? No. Oh no, that's Smith gone into the back of Mihai there.
Yeah, it's Tino Mihai for Walk Racing having a bit of a scare to say the least. But what was it with O'Shea? Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, O'Shea just lost 10 seconds randomly. Not huge news. Currently 8th place in the LMDH AMS, but I saw something going on the timing tower. Oh, Hardy Smith and Bogdan Moldovan. I think Moldovan's going to finally be able to get past Smith. I think he's been behind him for about 20 minutes. Seemed to drop time randomly, did Moldovan. I don't know if he made a mistake, because I think we saw him catch up to Smith a while ago, because obviously it was the perennial outrun versus walk racing, which is just a commentator's dream. And he dropped back, but now he's back with him, and now he's not driving on the tarmac. He doesn't need that. He is going straight past on the perimeter of the circuit, and Moldovan finally is past. It's not a good round for the man who won last time out at Road Atlanta, but he's up into 8th place, 8th place in the LMP2 Pros. Next up, he's got Mihai. He can get Mihai. Any further than that, I think, is a step too far, even for a driver of the Romanian's quality.
Yeah, that's the thing. There may be just under 9 minutes left of this race, but that is not long at all, even when the fastest drivers on circuit are doing 1 minute 48.1s. It is going to fly by very suddenly. You've not got many laps left to get the job done. Alexandra Delatraz now just ahead of Oliver Newbury. This is for 2nd place overall in the LMP2s and 2nd place in the LMP2 Pros.
Also, sorry to interrupt, Chaz, but Styx has got past Gebhard. He's up into 4th place in the LMP1, LMDH. Come on, Sam, come on. Do this. It's alright, it's round 3. You've got time to learn it. It's not a big stress. It seems like it was actually a mistake from Gebhard, wasn't it? Up ahead. There's a slow cut, and Styx. Good recovery drive. Started outside the top 10, remember, did Pascal Styx. But he's up to P4 and will be the championship leader if it ends like this.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job. I think the first round result for Thiago Marteau is what's going to be the thorn in his side for the rest of the season. 13th place in that first round. But Styx has finished 2nd in both races so far, and he's going to get a 4th place finish here if it all stays as is. Here is your race leader, though, Thiago Marteau. Here is the current championship leader, Sven Newman. And he's got Guillaume Kempfer 10.6 seconds up the road, so I don't think he's going to be able to catch up with him. He just needs to keep it tidy and stay ahead of Kevin Chyon, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at that. 3 seconds faster on that last lap. But I feel like that must have been a mistake for Kempfer. Yeah, so it's maybe 2 seconds a lap. It's a long circuit, as you were saying before. I don't think he will make it. I think that was just a change as well. What's that? Smith just going past Gebhard. Oh no, so Gebhard's made a mistake. Oh, it's been an awful couple of laps for Johnny Gebhard. Losing out to Styx, so he's now lost the lead in the LMDH race, and a good avoidance from that other car. But Gebhard having an absolute mare out there.
Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible moment, especially when you do it yourself. That's the worst thing, you know. It wasn't somebody else's mistake that you got involved in. It's just an error on your own part. But again, these cars are so easy to loop. They are so easy to overdo it in. And that was unfortunately what we saw there. Oliver Newbury now sitting right behind Delatraz this whole time. You can see he's mastered the art of following closely, hasn't he? He's all over the back of him. At this stage, kisses the grass a little bit. It's terrifying seeing that, though, because that's all it can take sometimes, isn't it, to throw the car into the barrier?
Yeah, it is. It can change so quickly. Also, if it ends like this, we will have our third different winner in 3 rounds in the LMDH AMS. And because Gebhard has already won a round, he won round 1, but Churowski is set to win this one. Churowski going into this round was down in 16th place in the in that championship. So once again, the inconsistency of that class is quite something. Gebhard should be up into maybe P4 in the championship. I think the top 3 would not have won a race so far this season, even though we've had 3 different winners. So pretty weird championship so far in the MDH and certainly the wild card championship of the season, I think. Delatraz under pressure from Newbury. Remember, he overtook Newbury a while back, but since then Newbury stayed in the draft and well, he's kept himself in contention with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's all it's got to be about. You've got to be in it to win it, isn't it? That wasn't a very good sentence. You've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? There you go. We'll get it right. And that's the thing. Some of these drivers sometimes they try and go for moves a bit too early. You know, they get a little bit impatient, a little bit overly eager, and they don't wait for the right moment to make moves. And it can be oh so important. Now these two, believe it or not, are teammates. They look very similar to these cars.
Don't do it again.
Bogdan
Learn.
around the outside doesn't need to get that close to his teammate. It's the 3 Romanian drivers fighting each other like they're from different squads altogether. Moldovan round the outside of Sutino Mihai, and Mihai just somehow holding on to it. But again, he didn't need to squeeze him to the white line. Moldovan didn't need to force the issue that much. They've got a car right behind them as well, which is Harley Smith. He may be in the LMP2 AM class, but it's still freebies at the end of the day if these two take each other off. Rule number 1 is don't hit your teammate. And well, at the moment, they're looking like they want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely loving it. It's great to see that they're battling, but I'm just amazed that Bogdan was willing to do that. Maybe if he hadn't already had a collision with his teammate at turn 1 earlier on in the race, maybe not. But as not happy with that one, Smith, I think he thought that the driver ahead of him kind of moved across a little bit too much on the braking, but they remain in the same order. There was something else going out on circuit. Newman, what's going on with Newman? He seems to be a bit absent right now. Oh, this is awful. Championship leader, winner as well when we visited in the trucks, Apex Racing League Truck Series. He won this round along with Watkins Glen, mastered the road circuits. Oh, it's again those rear locking, isn't it? And off into the wall, and he's had enough, and that will be his job score. Should get points, I think, Newman. So it'll be something, but it won't be much for him. Final shout out, by the way, to Virtual Racing School, another one of the sponsors for this series. Virtual Racing School offering data packs for road cars and oval cars, dirt oval, all kinds of stuff. Setups, track guides, data analysis software there. Data analysis software is absolutely brilliant. It allows you to compare your telemetry with the telemetry of a pro level driver. It really helps to identify exactly where you are losing time at each week of a circuit. So do check out virtualracingschool.com and check out their hardware as well. A really good quality for the price range that they're in. We will reuse them here at Apex Racing Team, so yeah, do check out their wheelbase and their pedals and their new wheel rim as well, which will soon be available. Smith racing furiously. This one's getting a little bit personal now, and they need to be careful with 3 minutes to go that they don't wipe each other and they don't wipe anyone else out, because they do not care too much about the long run here. They just want to beat one another.
Yeah, that's it. This is all about bragging rights now, by the look of it, the way that they're going at each other. It's fantastic entertainment, though. Really, really good fun indeed. Now they've got the race leader with them, though. Thiago Martos. Harley Smith wobbles on the brakes. That was millimetres from taking out the race leader. And that is how fickle motorsport can be sometimes. Terrifying stuff. Marto might not have even seen that happened, though, because he was so alongside him through there. He's now going to go through the kink. He's going to be patient right now. He's just behind him on the road. Who's that he's got with him? Is that Kevin Dorgay? It is, yes, it is. He's just sat there in the Delta V racing machine. Car blinking in and out a little bit as well there. That's a scary moment amongst anything else that you've got going on. You don't want a car blinking around you. But now Marto has a bit of clear air, and it looks like he's going to start the final lap of the race here at Road America.
Yes, a few people will be, a few drivers will be very happy that we haven't got one more. We weren't too far away, 25 seconds or so away from forcing, no, even closer than that, wasn't it? Like 15 seconds away from forcing an extra lap. So we'll make the fuel a little bit easier for a few drivers. Bogdan Moldovan is just about going to be laps on this final tour of the circuit. Smith has actually caught up a little bit with Maihei in the background. Also got Coleman being caught by Gachea, but I don't think Gachea will be taking any risk. Currently leader in the LMP2 AMS. Apologies, that's Adakonis is the one who's close to him. Coleman's a fair bit up the road. And Jack Wells, here comes Noah G. This is for second place in the LMDH AM category, as the white flag is being waved. Wells with a very strong performance so far will be championship leader after this round, it looks like. But Gia wants to make his way past. For now, the Beast Racing driver is maintaining that runners-up spots.
Yeah, he's pushing very, very hard, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You have to fill your mirrors, or fill your opponent's mirrors anyway, as much as you can at every single moment. It may not always be about throwing yourself down the inside and making the moves, but it's also a case of making sure that you play the mental game, get into people's heads. It's oh so important. Noah Chia now all over the back of Jack Wells for second place in the LMDH AMS. It's been great to see the AMS so high up the order amongst all of the pros, isn't it? I know it's only on paper really, but it's great fun.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, that the competitiveness that they've shown here at this Road America circuit, but no one could match this man's competitiveness. He has been, honestly, cruising. It's like Thiago Mate, dominant in qualifying, dominant throughout the race, and after a rubbish Watkins going round, it's back-to-back victories for the race clutch driver. The 122 wins at Road America. In our next class winner is going to be Balazs Tarowski, I believe. He's only got a couple more corners to negotiate, as Tarowski wasn't the leader for the vast majority of this race, but he's going to lead when it really matters. And the 216 is going to be our third different winner in the LMDH AM category so far this season, and really bring himself into championship contention. Great results for the Hungarian. Behind him, Wells will hang on to second place, and Chia will round out the podium.
Yeah, fantastic race, really entertaining. It's exactly what we expected from Road America. You know, there's so many opportunities to overtake here. The racing is very close. There's Martin Zijveld across the line. I think the other car just going across there with him was Paul Joseph Clist. Here's Kieran Smart around the final corner, the Scotsman finishing in 8th place in the LMDH Pros, and just looking at his previous results, that's actually equal best with the last round. He's been 9th, 8th, 8th. So I imagine he'll be not too upset with that one. Well, here comes your LMP2 Pro winner, Sam. This has been a much quieter race for this man as he drifts around the final corner.
Yeah, Anders Meyer really just edging out that gap every single lap. No one could get close to him in the end. Anders Meyer wins in the LMP2 Pros. And Newbury is going to be able to beat Delachas. Lost that second position after the pit stops, but was able to get it back later on, and the Kogi Racing driver manages to get P2, but still strong points for Delachas for his championship hopes. And Gacher, meanwhile, already crossing the line in the LMP2 AMS. He beats Smith and Araya to the line. And so...
Sorry, Sam, I was going to say very, very busy race, wasn't it? Again, because of having the 4 different classes, you know, there's always so much for us to look at. But I really, really enjoyed that one. Here's Oliver Newbury. And is this... Oh, dearie me. Incident in front of him. And that is... Yeah, Delatraz off the road. And that was going to be gutting for the Frenchman. But Newbury makes it home in second place. This is how it happened then. So a flash of the headlights. Who is that in front of him? We'll try and pick up the number.
413.
Oh, he just drives into the back of him. There's not really any other way of saying it, to be honest. He just drove into the back of the car in front. I mean, he wasn't going to have much chance to dive out of the way there, but, well, unfortunately...
Stephen Mann.
Stephen Mann. Well, Stephen didn't do anything wrong in my eyes. I just don't think that Delatraz reacted to him, unfortunately.
Yep. I think that probably was the case at Canada Corner.
That's
We'll see what the stewards think. If it
Yes.
is reported to them, there is Kai Tiago Marte, Kyo Tiago Marte. Apologies, do you actually, and this is very unprofessional, this is a behind the scenes, but do you know if it's Kyo Tiago, Jazz? Because
no, I'm just guessing. I'm just saying Kyo.
Okay.
Kyo Tiago.
Marte, well, actually, we might have an interview with him in a bit. Tell us how to pronounce your name, because I feel like I've been commentating on you for about 5 seasons now, and I don't think I've got it right, and he's too nice to correct me. So, any names that we are getting wrong, honestly, let us know. I mean, it's the only way that we learn, and we do appreciate it. Sasha Engelhardt, very good second place there for Sasha. Then there's Clement Murray. Pascal Sticks, good recovery for him. Had good race pace after a poor qualifying. Then there's Balazs Turovsky, Frank Smits, Jack Wells, who's championship leader in the LMDH AMS. Come on, Sam. Third way through seasons. Gotta get better at pronouncing that. Noah Chia in 8th place overall. Then there's Marcel Vandenberg, Johnny Gebhard, Martin Vitzajeveld, Kieran Smart, Kevin Kittelman, Guillaume Kempfer, Kevin Chillon, Kevin Duguay, Haldas Utortus, Rory O'Shea, Morton Cathode, Anders Meyer, Adam Coles, Oliver Newbury. Newbury was what happened to Newbury? What? Newbury was apologies, I'm getting very confused because now in the LMP2s. I forgive me. Delatraz behind Newbury because of that last lap incident that we saw. Gachea gets in very good points for his LMP2 championship hunt. Then it was Justin Adekonis, David Sampson, Sam Coleman, Bogdan Moldovan, Sutinu Maihe, Hardy Smith, Bruno Soyom, Mark Kustas, Louis Araya, Paul Joseph Clist, and then still score points. Newman, Viamont, and Mann, the judges who did not score points: Brown, Sapini, Weitzel, Boberg, Amor, Vicuti, Gusette, Piazza, Ambler, and Merchant. That was a fair few of them. Merchant with that quali ban, but I think he was so far back that we didn't exactly see what happened to him. A lot of incidents seemingly on that lap 1, which ruled drivers out of contention. Let's see which drivers were in contention and have decided to have a chat with us. And I think there's only one man that we can drag up. Well, no, actually, there's 3 men to be precise. But I think actually I'm going to drag up Balazs Turovsky, who joins us in the commentary box right now. Congratulations on your first race win of the season, after of course missing round 2 and a bit of an underwhelming round 1, you must be absolutely delighted.
Yes, I am. It was a good race, and it's good to win after the disconnect in round 1, and I unfortunately missed round 2, but it's a nice way to come back.
Absolutely. When you were out there and battling with some of your opponents, what were the tactics out there? Because it seemed like there was a few occasions where we saw drivers decide to stay behind and maybe fuel save. Did you get involved in that, or were you just trying to make moves whenever you could?
What I did was I split. I started with less fuel, and I kind of split the total fuel in half so I could take tires as well. So I wasn't really thinking about fuel. Honestly, the pace was really strong, so I just tried to stay behind P1 the whole time. And in the end, I think the fresher tires really came in handy, and I was able to win.
So that explains perhaps what happened to Johnny Gebhard then. Do you think he didn't take tires, and that was why you were able to be so much faster near the end?
Yeah, that must have been why, because I pitted right from behind him, and I came out about 10 seconds behind. And that was because I, of course, spent more time in the pits, and he was able to just take fuel. But in the end, I think by the end, his tires degraded so much that it was more worth it to take tires as well. So that's what must have happened.
Monza next time out, do you think that's going to be a circuit where you're going to have to take tires as well? And genuinely, what are your thoughts about that circuit?
Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of slipstreaming. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good race though.
Do you think round Monza? I mean, you say there's going to be a lot of slipstreaming. Do you think it could be a case where we see maybe the top 10 all in a line, or do you think it will be possible to break the jars? How tricky is it going to be to do that?
I think we're gonna see a big worm down the main street, but I think if you're faster, you will be able to get by in some of the other corners. But yeah, that worm is gonna be large on the main street for sure.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing that racing. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, my friend Nick, he's just getting into iRacing. He's gonna hopefully join me soon in league racing as well.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to it. Balazs, thanks for having a chat with us. We'll see you back next time.
Thanks. Thank you.
Balazs Chorosky right there joining us in the commentary box. Chaz, who do you want to drag up?
Let's speak to Anders Meyer again, because he had a very different race to what he had last time out, and it's definitely worth seeing whether he's a little bit more relaxed after this one. Anders, very well done, mate. Fantastic night for you. This time you didn't have to fight through so many other cars to get there, really. It was all just a case of keeping it tidy at the front.
Yeah, thank you. I finally had a good qualification. The lap itself wasn't the best, but it was turn... well, in my head it's turn 3, but it's probably turn 7 since it's an American track. But the first,
yes.
after the
yes.
second straight, I had the perfect speed for the turn and no traction on exit, and that really saved the whole lap. So I was happy with that, and I'm really happy that I survived the first corner, because that was it was scary to see like Bogdan's car in the wrong, like sideways into the turn in my mirrors.
Well, that's the thing I always say with these cars. You know, they're absolutely glued to the road until they're not. You know, they just go so quickly. But it seems like at certain points the LMP2 is a car that you can slide around quite a bit. We saw a lovely slide out of the final corner there. Does it just take a lot of time to get used to how this car behaves? Because it does honestly seem like it's either on or off, whether it's going to grip or not.
Yeah, it's a really fine limit of being right where you have to be and being over the limit. It's definitely slidable, but you don't want to do it the whole race because the tires doesn't like it too much. But in the final corner, it was acceptable. But yeah, it's definitely a difficult car because it's so hard to feel the limit. But I don't know. I haven't driven this car for that long, so it's something about the car and me that just worked really well.
And of course, we've got another hour-long race next time out at Autodromo Nazionale Monza in Italy. Another circuit where slipstream is going to be important. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I always enjoy driving at Monza. So, like I say, it's going to be a slipstream festival. So if one guy is able to get out of that, he will definitely have the upper hand. But we'll see. I hope everyone is ready to not dive each other in the first lap, so we lose the draft. But yeah, we'll see. We
certainly will, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to give a thanks to before you go?
Yeah, as usual, Carl Fredrik was with me calculating the fuel. Executed that perfectly. Thanks to RacingLab.no, CarX.no, KTM, and the rest of Racing Lab Esports. We have done quite a lot of driving with this LMP2 lately, so it's been a big help preparing for the Sebring 12 hours. So thanks to everyone, and thanks to you.
Thank you very much, mate. It's been great to speak to you again, Anders. Very well done on your class victory.
Thank you.
There you go, Sam. And like I say, a much easier race for him tonight than the races where he's had to sort of fight through from a couple of places back to scrabble on for those points. But we have one more interview lined up by the look of it. One of our very own, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes, it is Luis O'Raya. And Luis, well, I mean, in a way, some may call it a harsh thing not to compliment you for the entire broadcast, but considering the absolute mare that you had at Red Atlanta when Chaz started to give out all those compliments, I imagine you'll be slightly pleased about that.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm had fun now. So yeah, with Road Atlanta was the completely different story. Road America is a lot better to drive to, I feel. So yeah, I hope it's going better next week though.
Definitely, it's still a strong result tonight. I mean, third place in the amateur category is very strong. How was the multi-class racing out there? It looked like at times the hypercars having to stay behind you P2s for a fair few corners before being able to pull the trigger.
Yeah, if the hypercars aren't that fast in some corners, so they can the LMP2s can actually gain something on the hypercars. So in some corners, so it's a good thing they waited a little bit to do it on the straights, either than dive bombs like they did on Road Atlanta as well. So much better driving standard this race I feel than last race. So yeah, it's going upwards that was well.
And yeah, you mentioned the next round. It's going to be Monza coming up. When it comes to setting up this Dallara P217, is it a case of just taking all the drag off so you pretty much not got a rear wing, or is there a little bit of kind of play you can have where you can run a slightly high downforce to help it? How much kind of choice do you have when setting up next week?
It depends about the setup that Maxime has provided at the Apex setup shop. So yeah, so let's see how that's going on. I used that setup, so yeah. I don't know how to set up a car, so I just need to do whatever he sets up.
I am absolutely in the right boat, and yeah, Maxime is a very good driver to learn off of when it comes to setups. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Luis?
My team, as always, the Olympus Esports, IMB, Apex, you guys, yeah, and of course Anders Myhre as well. He tipped me about changing tires in the end, so that's why I did go for the tire change. I wasn't planned actually, so but he told me that we might gain something, so thank to Anders as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Luis, and best of luck next week.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Luis O'Reilly there, your P3 finisher in the LMP2 AM category. And Chaz, that wraps up our interviews for tonight. But yeah, word on Monza. I mean, it's the ultimate slipstream circuit, really. And well, it will probably test what the slipstream capabilities of these cars are, because well, they're just going to be rattling around that circuit, and potentially we could see maybe the closest battling we'll see all season long.
Well, another important point is going to be the braking zones as well. A lot of very hard braking zones into really slow chicanes. And obviously these cars are really easy to snatch a brake on. We've seen it ourselves in the course of just this race tonight. So the drivers are going to be definitely getting their practice in there. Pit lane entry is important as well. It'd be really easy to get caught speeding in the pit lane entry at Monza. So yeah, I'm super excited for Monza. It's certainly going to come around quickly for these guys. So I'm sure they'll be getting their practice in, well, in maybe the next 10 minutes or so. We'll have to see.
Yeah, looking forward to that one, because you can catch it on Apex Racing TV coming up in yeah, a week's time. Of course, we've got plenty more action, including more ARL action as well, coming up on Saturday. The Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship Season 2. You can still sign up. Go to apexracingleague.com. You can also sign up for our Porsche Cup Championship as well, starting in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, that's F4 Championship using the elimination heat format. Will be very much fun on Saturday. Also got Spec Racer Ford and Formula Renault 3.5. Of course, got our studio broadcast, the GT3 Trophy, coming up tomorrow as well, which is always a very entertaining one. Penultimate round of the championship. Overall championship could be getting very tight. We could see a Pro-Am take the overall title win, which would be quite something. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out our social media pages as well, not just Apex Racing TV, but also Apex Racing League, where we are constantly posting clips of our broadcast up on there. And yes, if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and catch the next few as we continue on with the season. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Chaz Draycott, and from Lewis Ward, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back next time at Monza. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.